Okay, so for the past few days, every time I mentioned Chris Bumstead and his open debut at the Prague Pro, someone in the comments would correct me, saying that this wasn't his open debut and that he actually started as an open competitor, blah blah blah. Guys, Chris Bumstead made his pro open debut in Prague. He never competed in open as a pro before. Yes, he won his pro card in 2016 by winning the North Americans in the open class, but he never did a pro show in open. 2016 was also the year Classic Physique was introduced. CBum won the classic shows in 2017, including the Pittsburgh Pro and Toronto Pro, qualified for the Olympia, and has been a top 2 finisher at the Olympia from 2017 to 2024. So the Prague Pro was his first and only pro show in the open division and his first competition outside of the Olympia since 2017. Now that we've cleared that up, let's actually compare his 2016 North Americans physique, the last time he competed in open before Prague, with his Prague Pro 2024 physique to see his 8-year transformation. Front double biceps. Let's start by removing the backgrounds because that's how we roll here on Supersetman. Now of course his overall physique is improved and the muscle maturity is obvious in 2024, plus he's developed one of the most impressive vacuum poses in the world. But one thing I noticed is how detailed and separated his quads looked back in 2016. In terms of size they are bigger now for sure, he's got more fullness, but he doesn't have the clear lines he had back then. Comparing his 2024 classic physique at the Mr. Olympia, where he didn't have the same fullness as in Prague, his legs looked more similar to 2016, with both detail and fullness. So this change is probably due to the fullness he aimed for in Prague, which sacrificed some detail. Overall, he's drastically improved his upper body since 2016, but his lower body appears almost the same. Front lat spread is next, and I almost forgot to mention his look. The mustache is definitely an improvement, but I'm not so sure about the hair. Anyway, he has always looked great in the front lat spread, his strongest pose, though ironically it's not a mandatory one in classic physique. The differences between 2016 and 2024 in this pose are much smaller. His legs looked great in 2016, comparable to now, not as full but more detailed. His upper body is more mature now, but overall, it's not a huge difference. 2024 Prague still wins, but not by the margin you might expect. Side chest pose. This is a pose he has drastically improved in both upper and lower body. His legs from the side were not as defined back in 2016, but the biggest difference is in his upper body. Besides improved execution, it's clear CBum has added a lot of muscle to his pecs, shoulders and arms, turning what was an underwhelming pose in 2016 into one of the most epic side chest poses of all time. Clear win for 2024 here. Rear double biceps. There's a lot to discuss here, but the first thing that catches my eye is the lower body from 2016. Look at those hamstrings. This must have been before the hamstring tear he suffered on his right leg, because his hams look great in 2016. I would probably give the lower body edge to 2016. But the upper body is a completely different story. His back looks really shallow in 2016 compared to 2024, and keep in mind his back was one of the main reasons he probably lost to Martin in Prague. He's massively improved his upper body, back muscles, shoulders, arms, and his execution of this pose has evolved. 2024 is the clear winner here, but I'm still very impressed by his lower body in 2016. If you are enjoying my content, consider subscribing. A big portion of you, around 73%, are not subscribed, and it would mean a lot to me to reach that 30k subs milestone by the end of this year. I appreciate it, guys. Rear lat spread. This pose tells the same story. He had an impressive lower body for a fresh pro in 2016, but his upper body was definitely not up to par. One thing I didn't mention in the other back pose is his hair. I'm not a fan of his 2016 hairstyle. It's not a great look, but to be fair, I'm not a huge fan of his current style either, even though it's become a signature of sorts. Back to the actual pose. 2016 clearly needed a lot of work, so the introduction of the classic physique division that same year was perfect for him because his frame needed a lot more work to be competitive in the open class. Side triceps. The differences from the side are probably the most noticeable, but for once, I actually prefer his 2016 execution. I didn't like how he hit this pose in Prague. I've seen him hit the side triceps better in classics, so it's not like he forgot how to do it since 2016. I think it was just a bad choice here. You can even tell by his facial expression. Compare that to his side chest expression. 2024 still wins, of course, but the side triceps was the only pose where Chris looked uncertain. By the way, it was the only pose he didn't include in his finals individual routine, which supports my point. Abs and thighs. As we can see, Chris Bumstead never had deeply cut abs, it's just genetics, but his overall look and presentation have improved drastically. Ignoring the side triceps, Chris has become a master of the mandatories, really knowing how to pose and present each one. And of course, his vacuum is a standout in the abs and thighs pose, adding a nice touch when paired with flexed abs rather than replacing them. Most muscular. The most muscular pose clearly goes to the more muscular 2024 version, especially the crab variation, which is very impressive. It's a pity we'll never see Chris Bumstead on stage again. It's unfortunate for fans, but definitely the right choice for him. Despite his weaker arms, he's got a wide frame, great chest, impressive traps, and fantastic dryness and muscle separation, which adds to the wow factor. The conclusion should have been obvious from the start. 2024 dominated, but I was really impressed by his legs back in 2016. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What video would you like to see next? 2016 versus his classic physique Olympia look, or his 2024 Olympia physique against his open class Prague Pro version? Let me know in the comments, and while you're there, make sure to hit the like button for the algorithm and subscribe to help me reach 30k subs before the end of 2024. See you in the next one.